welcome back, everyone. I'm Ben,
I'm Rom.
and we're back again for a new episode of the One Piece versus 4K podcast, where we compare the One Piece 4Kids anime to the Funimation dub, sometimes sub, and throw in comparisons to the manga. Back today for episode 63 of the 4Kids anime.
Episode 95 in Funimation.
Damn. Still shocking every time.
Yeah.
We're almost at 100.
Yeah.
And we're only going to be, you know, sub 60s.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I guess before we get into it, let's just get with the title real quick. What's the title in the Four Kids?
oh brother.
Oh wow. uh, mine is Ace and Luffy, Hot Emotions and Brotherly Bonds.
Interesting. I don't know who Ace is. I'm just kidding. I know that he's definitely
Yeah.
not called that in the 4Kids though. So,
I'm like intrigued to see how they cover certain things in this episode.
well, before we get into it, there's some guns in this episode. There's some deaths. So we'll see what
Okay.
happens.
Yeah. But yeah. I guess I'll start with what's going on in the world of One Piece.
Yeah.
Um, so several things actually. Several major
Should
things.
we let's
Start.
get to the biggest news at the end. And the biggest news is the one thing that I could comment on.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll get to that. But I guess like the first major news, obviously, since the last time we did this, the chapters have just been going hard. Like, my goodness, man! Like all the lore drop. Like there was this one mysterious figure that they introduced. I don't know if it was in the. I definitely don't think it was in the 600s. I want to say it was in the 700s, maybe 800s. It was like a new feature, and like this character started talking, and the following chapters, they kind of like talked about who this character could potentially be. Um, like Oda gave like in the drawing of this character, I am speculating hard that it's actually this character is going to be a female. Like, there's like a lot of speculations about how this character will look. I personally think this character will be a female. Some people in past have thought it was going to be a male, and I did too. But this time, in the latest drawings of this character, it very much looks like a female,
What if there is
and
no gender?
I guess it's possible too. It's possible too. There are creatures that you can't really gender list a labels a certain gender to. Um, I like fun like um, the One Piece. So there's this political streamer on Twitch named Hassan, and he recently got into One Piece. By recently, last several months, and his whole thing is about how One Piece is a very political anime. I think a lot of anime is actually pretty political in itself. Bill Burr did this whole thing about One Punch Man, where he described like he watched it and he really liked One Punch Man. And apparently, he said that in one episode. A lot of fans gave him grief for it, and then he started to go through episode by episode, going through the different villains, and he started to like talk about how certain villains are an embodiment of this certain political topic or this certain political topic and stuff. So that's what I mean by a lot of anime is very political. Um, and so this one guy, and it's like something that I've kind of like known in the past, but this is the way I'm going to approach it. He basically talks about like all the politics in One Piece and how, well, gender fluidity is something that's discussed in One Piece, but much later on, more in depth, much later on. Well, I'll put it that way. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely something um, that Oda is like he's like, I guess he is pro trans. With the way he kind of like, there's a lot of like gender fluid characters and non binary characters in One Piece. Um,
Yeah.
What's his name is not a trans person. The duck guy, Bon Clay or Mr. Two. He's not a trans person. He's like a drag queen. Like I think he still identifies. We don't necessarily know, obviously, because they don't go too much in depth with it. But it's like he made like a flirtatious comments towards Vivi. Um, I think it's generally assumed that he is someone who identifies as a man, but he's like a drag queen, you know, like um
Hmm.
yeah, I'll just say that. Like he's like a drag queen. I don't know. I don't necessarily think he identifies as that. Maybe he does, and maybe it's just something I didn't read into it too much. But yeah,
Maybe someone
he
needs to ask Oda right now. Get him on the phone.
yeah yeah he well I guess he could answer, which is actually going to be a thing that I'm going to refer to in a little bit. Um, I think he is generally because there's one of the characters in the show is because like there's like a lot of real life inspiration to a lot of the characters that are drawn in the show, and one of the characters in the show who is not introduced right now, and they won't be introduced until the 400s. It's actually inspired by someone who is in the LGBTQ community, basically.
Oh, that's
So
interesting.
yeah. The guy is pretty bro, and he did this like during the late 2000s, you know, like around 2008 to 2010 kind of thing. Like, so this is like he was ahead of his time. I
Hmm.
mean, a lot of people say he was ahead of his time, but I think it's more of the thing that it's always been there. It's just people are now starting to get outraged over it. Like, it's always been
Yep.
something that, like I always say that, you know, like RuPaul's Drag Race didn't just automatically exist. It's existed for like 2 decades, you know. So it's always been there. Just people
Now
are
people are told to be pissed about it.
just,
They're told to be
yeah.
extremely angry. There's other people that they're seeing and they're saying you should be really angry about this.
Yeah, and it's like it's something that's existed for a long time
Yeah.
that it's just right now people are like, oh, and it's like, nah. So I don't say yeah, I don't necessarily think it's something that it was like something he was ahead of. It was just it was there, it was just and funny enough, there's a character in the latest arc. I'll just say it. This character is trans, and the dub, the person who dubs it is actually they actually Funimation and Crunchyroll. They actually went out the way to find an actual trans voice actor to
Oh,
voice
that's
this
good.
person. Yeah. So yeah, they're actually voicing this character. So if you're caught up with the anime and you want to watch it, there you go. And
And if you're pissed and stop watching One Piece because of this conversation that we're having right now, fuck you.
yeah, yeah, basically, like it's like if you're a fan of One Piece, like it's gonna be there, like you know, like it's part of the show, like it's like, and it's not something that you know you just it just popped out of the no. He made it a point to add it on the show, so there. I just wanted to get that point out of the way. Um, but yeah, like so I don't know why. I think it was because you asked about that trans character, but um so yeah, it's just like the mysterious character, you know, getting to actually hear them talk. We still don't know the gender of the character. I highly think it's going to be a female character because the linings just have a lot of like I don't know, just it just looks like a female eyes, like the way he draws female eyes, you know. So that's why I think it's female, but I wouldn't be surprised if it is a male. But I really do think it is going to be a female character. Um, so it's just been insane, like the amount of stuff that's been coming out in the chapters, and with all that happening, there's a bit of a big news in that it's not the news that you're thinking about. It's actually that One Piece is on a month-long break.
Oh yeah, I did hear about this.
Yeah, so Oda is having eye surgery to
Oh
address his
no.
astigmatism. Yeah, and so he's taking like a month off. People think that oh it's fine because the last time he took a month off, he came back and just bangers of chapters and stuff. but no, like the last time is that he actually like took a break. He wanted to go see the like the production of the live action and all of that. But this time, like it's not that. It's actually he's actually getting like a maybe during his recovery he gets like a bunch of ideas that he just starts to like write into. Maybe I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, he is getting his eyes checked out. He's having eye surgery, so he'll be out of commission for about a month to recover. I mean, chances are, I think his eyes will probably be better in 2 weeks, and then maybe like they'll take like an extra precaution for like another 2 weeks just to get his eyes settled. Maybe it does take him a little longer to recover just because of his habits. Like, he only sleeps like 4 hours a night, um, and he constantly works. So maybe it is something due to that his body recovers slower. Plus, like in some of the photos that they've taken of his office, like he has like this cigarette little like the thing where they put all the cigarette ashes in the ashtray. His ashtray is just loaded with cigarettes. So I don't know if he's like a chain smoker. So it's just, yeah, like due to those health decisions, maybe like his recovery is slower than everyone else's. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, he's going to be. Well, then again, I think a politician here in America, Dan Crenshaw, he's a bad example because he had an eye injury in war, and so when he had eye issues, like he I think Dan Crenshaw said, like one of his eyes is fully out, like a shrapnel lodged into his eye, and he lost complete sight of that eye. He wears an eye patch, and he said, well, yeah, obviously one eye that doesn't see and another eye that only partially sees or something. And when he had his eye procedure, he was out for a month, saying he'll be blind for a month effectively. I don't think Oda, obviously Oda isn't that, but I was thinking that maybe it was because eye surgeries are like that. But yeah, I mean, yeah, Oda's out for a month while he's recovering from surgery, so that's actually happening right now. And the next chapter, according to Shonen Jump, maybe even the Wiz app itself, is on July 18th. Um,
So
and
you got plenty of
my
time to catch up.
Yeah. And my personal goal by July 18th is to have everything set up so that we can do weekly chapter reviews on this channel. That's a personal goal of mine to try to get that up uh, by that time. And I am setting time in the day to kind of. I mean, I'm sure it doesn't take too long to get it set up, but yeah, I'll try to figure that out by the time the next chapter releases so that I do that. So yeah. Um, but yeah, besides that, to get to the final big news that we wanted to keep until the end, do you want to say it?
Yeah, Rom's most anticipated event of the year has finally been revealed. The One Piece live action Netflix teaser trailer has released.
Yep. What do you
Um,
think?
I think I think the trailer was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you can make a trailer look really good because they made the Cowboy Bebop trailer look really freaking good, and like all the
Mm,
trailers looked really good. And then when you watched it, you're like, "What the hell is going on here?" And you're just like, "I don't even feel like watching another episode." At least that's how it was for me. Um,
mm.
this looks pretty good. But I will say, I didn't I didn't even realize. Wait, is so wait. I'm watching through this again. I didn't even realize that Usopp was in the trailer.
He is.
Yeah, I didn't even realize him. Like I don't think I think that Usopp might be one of the worst castings.
I mean, actually, another character. People actually thought the worst casting was the Sanji character, but I mean, the reality is that like, I think it's gonna be like a cast that they change every few years. Just because you know
You man,
um,
you still have real high hopes of this.
if it does
Get more
well,
than one season. Do you think they'll
yeah,
change it every couple years?
I think they have to because like so for instance like um a lot of the actors like for instance the actor that they got for Nami, Emily Rudd, she's like I think she's 30 now. She's either 28 or 30. She's actually kind of up there. I mean, that's still really young. Like let's
Yeah, but she's gonna
let's
be
not
like
rush
by the
things.
time you get to like 900, she's gonna be dead.
Yeah. Yeah, basically. But like it's like like she is she is kind of at that, but like the One Piece characters, they're like 18 to 25. I mean, certain characters later on are really older, but um the main characters though that they introduced in this arc, like they're supposed to be like teens, early 20s,
Uh huh.
and so um obviously certain characters will obviously grow like the guy who's portraying Luffy, I think he's actually pretty young. Let me check it out. Inyaki. Sorry, I'm just like okay. Inyaki Godoy. He is 19 years old, so he's a good age, like because he's only 2 years older than what Luffy is. Because Luffy is 17 at the time, so he's good. But Emily Rudd, who portrays Nami, um, she is okay, yeah. So she is 30. So it's like, in a couple of years, it's just when she gets to 40, like, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard to think that she's gonna be a teen. Like, at her age, sure. At 30, obviously, it's like okay, but it's like that she's gonna look fine. It's just it's gonna be hard to say that this is, and it's not just her. It's also like the character that they casted for Sanji, Taz Skyler. He is 27, so he's also someone who's going to be like, as the episodes comes on, he's going to also be a lot older. The guy for Usopp, yeah, it's
Actually,
like
Usopp doesn't look that bad. It's just it was actually just confusing to me how they show how they show well, I mean, it's all right. Actually, they're actually not. It's actually a little bit confusing how I got a little bit confused with Zolo or Zoro uh,
yeah,
with with his what do you call that? His pirate thing on. I didn't realize that it was the same person at first. It's the same
yeah,
person.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, they try to cast it based on the ethnicity of
Yeah.
the actual One Piece character, and they
And
do a pretty good job of it. Like Iñaki
yeah.
Godoy, like apparently, even though he is Mexican, he's apparently Mexican of like Brazilian descent, I think. Um, Makinyu, who portrays Zoro, he's actually Japanese American. He was born in the U.S., but Japanese parents, so he's Japanese. Um, I think the character for Usopp, I don't know that he's South African. I think he's just African American. The person for Sanji,
I
I'm
think
not
the
sure if
reason
he
why I
has.
didn't think that Usopp wasn't good because they don't really show him as much in this trailer. Like he's barely.
Yeah, he's like barely there.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
um, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because it's just like
Um,
a quick flash. But I think I honestly I think that Sanji's character looks like really close. Why are people
yeah, he's
bad?
apparently 26. He's apparently 26. So
Why do
maybe
people think he's a bad casting choice?
they think he looks a lot older.
Oh, I don't.
They just yeah. I think he's fine.
Yeah.
I like
Well, he's got to look older, but because he's been smoking since the age of like 3. Once you know his
probably
full backstory.
yeah. I can't comment on that.
He's been smoking since he's 3 in the anime too. They show him smoking at 3 years old.
No, it's the comment you made after that.
Oh. I don't
But when
even
you
know what
said
I
like the
said.
more you learn about,
Oh.
oh, you said the more you learn. Okay, so it looks like a lot of these actors were born in 1996. Only Inyaki, who portrays Luffy, was born in like he was like 19. The rest are all like 26. So yeah, except for Emily Rudd, who's like 93 or 92, something like
You're
that.
saying years. I'm like, whoa, she's 92 years old.
Yeah. Emily
Yeah,
Rudd
she's
is
93. I just looked her up.
93.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, so she's in 93. Yeah. Yeah, so it's like yeah, like I just feel like, like they would be able to portray teens for like a little bit, but it's gonna be tough long term. Then again,
I don't know what the hell's going on with Buggy though.
I mean, the thing is that like a lot of characters don't necessarily look their age in the show either. Like Zoro and Sanji are supposed to be 21 post time skip, and when they're fighting certain characters, you think they're supposed to be the same age, but like one character is supposedly 5 years older than him, so
Well, dude, Zolo's looked like 21 since the beginning of the show.
exactly, like so yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, like so, we'll just have to see what they do. I mean, obviously, let's just see if it even gets past the first one. But so,
What if
yeah,
it? Here's what I'm saying. What I was saying earlier. What if it happens if it gets exactly just as far as the four kids?
so if they cancel it,
Yeah, yeah. It gets to the last episode of the four kids, and then they're like, "All right, well, that's it." But that's still a huge
um,
stretch, man. That's a
yeah,
gigantic stretch. Because I don't think. I mean, the longest. I mean, what the heck? Like, isn't the longest running Netflix show Stranger Things?
I mean, a bunch of other. I mean, I think current longest, yeah, but like, don't they like go years without releasing a season though?
Yeah, but I think that might be the longest running. Someone says. I mean, I'm talking about live action. The animated don't count because Daredevil had 3 seasons. I mean, Stranger Things already surpassed that.
Yeah. Like for instance, like Invincible came out what 2021, and I'm still waiting on the second season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think five
Yeah. I think Stranger Things is. Yeah, I think it
Stranger
is the
Things will
longest
be
one.
okay. Well, wait. Stranger Things is going into what season? 5?
I think their last season.
Season 5. Okay, Stranger Things is going into season 5. Actually, House of Cards had 6 seasons.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because I mean, House of Cards was like their first like original series that like made it big.
Oh, wait. Actually, what? Apparently, The Ranch had 8 seasons.
Dude, but like,
And
how
then
long did that show even last? Like 8 seasons, but like, what's the year
they
duration?
first
Was
released
that
in 2016.
and when did it end? Because it ended
Uh,
before 2020.
I don't know. I'd never even heard of that show until now, man.
No, I heard of that show. I even watched like the first season or two of that show.
Was it great?
It was okay.
It ended in 2020. Orange
Okay.
is the New Black had 7 seasons.
Was that a Netflix only?
Yes, that was a Netflix. That was like the first Netflix, one of the first Netflix originals.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it was even before House of Cards. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it started in 2013.
Okay.
Oh, so did House of Cards. Okay, they started around the same time. Interesting.
So there was a recent One Piece fan theory that's out, and it says that this fan theory might actually spoil the ending of the show because like there's a lot of like similarities between Basically, One Piece has a lot of similarities to this movie that came out, this animated movie that came out, I think in the 1980s, maybe 1990s, by that was made by, it was like a Hayazaki, the famous animator who won like a bunch of Oscars for his movie, like the Studio Ghibli guy.
Yeah, what
Um,
movie?
oh gosh, hang on. Studio Ghibli. I need to go find him. Um,
Howl's Moving
oh,
Castle.
yeah. The Castle in the Sky.
Oh, Castle in the Sky. Okay.
Is that listed?
That's a Studio Ghibli movie. Yes. I've seen that.
Yeah. So this one thing, um, where is the Castle in the Sky? 1986. Yeah. So this One Piece fan theory video talked about how there's a lot of similarities between the Castle in the Sky and One Piece entirely. It's not the only show that claim. It's not the only thing that like is. Let me reword this. It's not the first video to claim that One Piece is very similar, too similar to this one other story, because like obviously Castle in the Sky, this video states that there's a lot of similarities to One Piece as well as this movie Castle in the Sky. Not only that, but there is also another story called some story about Sun Wukong, which is like a famous like fan theory that was made around the time that people thought like gear the next big evolution was about to happen with Luffy, or the next potential big attack that was about to happen with Luffy. um, and they say that like, oh, Luffy's story follows this story of Sun Wukong. So there's multiple stories that people are like, oh, this mirrors that.
Hmm.
So the reason I say this is that it's possible because Oda says he wants to finish One Piece in the next 3 years. Most likely, it's probably gonna be like 5 to 6. If he does, I think what would happen with the anime is that, or sorry, the live action is that they will if it lasts that long, I think they will rewrite certain parts of the live action to kind of speed up that to kind of follow that, because I don't think they're gonna do like a 20-year live action, like live action One Piece anime, like a live action show.
No,
I think it will
there's
last
no
that long.
way. There's no way.
No, no, I just don't see it happening.
Unless
Um,
Oda finishes and he's like and he just he continues pitting all of his money into the series. This is his remake, the live action.
Like he apparently said that that's always been his goal for One Piece is for it to become a live action.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
based on some of the things he's done in the show, like some of the wacky characters and stuff that goes on. I don't know how, but you know,
unfortunately, you're not going to get 26 episode seasons. He should have gone with CW.
yeah, exactly. Um, but yeah, like so I think they might like rewrite it because I think it might probably is like a if it does last that long, it's probably like a 6 to 7 season show.
How
I wouldn't
many
see it go for
episodes do
like.
you think are going to be in the first season?
Oh, I think they announced that it was only gonna be like eight or nine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let's see how far it
Um.
gets. Are we going to meet
Yeah.
Usopp? I'm guessing we
Yeah.
have to. He's in the trailer.
Yeah. No, we're definitely gonna meet Usopp. He's gonna be like in the first like 3 or 4 episodes. Um. I think all the major characters are going to be introduced by episode 5
Okay. Let's
because
see.
like there's not a lot.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of episodes, so of course. I think the trailer is fine. Everything was fine up until he announced the attack.
No, man, I'm fine with it. I'm totally fine with that. I
I
don't get
mean,
why
it's gonna
people are
be.
dogging on it.
I mean, if it sounded weird, man. It just sounded weird. Um, it feels like a little childish, you know, but that's just gonna be. It's gonna be. It is, and it's not anything on the actor or the writers or anything. It's obviously something that they have to do just because it's the show. but it's gonna be a bit before, like, it's hard to make those scenes, like, get that scene right, get the like, getting that scene right is something that's very hard to do. So I'm not gonna fault the actor for that. It's just gonna be the fight scenes are gonna be goofy when he's like announcing his attacks as he's attacking them. Like it's gonna be weird. That's the only thing. Hopefully they get that right, but if they don't, I fully get it. So we'll have to see.
They're gonna get the same guy to do all the fight scenes from Daredevil.
Um, I mean, like, trying to see
No,
if there is a blind character. Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's like a blind character. There is a blind character that comes on much later on.
gotcha. Well,
Yeah.
should we get into the episode here?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So the episode opens, and I don't even remember this from the last episode. So this was like also kind of confusing. Like, so the like you know how the narrators. Well, I don't. It's not in the Funimation, but they may recap what happened in the last episode. Do they do that?
Well, it is weird. Like, obviously, the last episode ended how it ended, but then like they go back to the sequence of as they're running back, and like they're having like a bit of a dialogue there as they're running back.
Yeah. So what was interesting about this is I don't remember this from the last episode, but they mentioned two things in the like recap of last episode. They mentioned that Trace was Luffy's older brother. I don't ever remember Luffy saying that in the last episode. I remember him saying that's his brother. But anyways, they mentioned that Trace is his older brother, and then they also mentioned that he used the flare fruit. And I don't ever remember him talking about the flare fruit. I mean, like,
Oh,
yeah, so I thought it was kind of weird that they mentioned like two things that happened, but they never even like talked about them. Like obviously he did use the fire thing, so that's a cursed fruit of some sort, but they never I
yeah,
don't remember him it being named in the last episode. So I thought that was kind of weird.
yeah. I mean, they do mention that he's his brother. I think it's just generally implied that he's the older brother.
Just cuz he's bigger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's just older looking.
Yeah. So anyways, Trace says if he can't stand the heat then get out of the kitchen while staring down Chaser. Chaser says back off as Trace says no can do. Chaser then says he despises him more than his little brother, and it's time to smoke him out as he performs a smoke spark move, which causes a tornado to take away his giant fireball. A bystander says, "Holy smokes, something's ablaze," as Usopp says, "It's not a weenie roast." Sanji mentions that Trace did say he ate one of the cursed fruits. Nami asks if he's really his brother, as Zolo says, "What's he doing in the Grand Line?" Luffy says Trace is also a pirate looking for the One Piece 2 and started 3 years ago. Zolo says he just wanted to make sure he knew what he did. And Nami says they better get out of here as they start running away. Um, I'll leave it here to see if there's anything different.
I mean, obviously it's not Trace, it's Ace.
Yeah, and it's not Chaser, it's Smoker, right?
Yeah, yeah. Um, so yeah, I mean, yeah. So basically, Smoker, he just basically says, "Oh, okay, so you're Straw Hat's older brother, then," and he's like, "Yeah, yeah, he's my younger brother," and then yeah, so they get into a fight, and then Smoker says it's pointless to fight because fire and smoke just cancel, like it's a logia, so it just cancels each other out. So then, when everything clears out, one of the Marines says, "Oh, the Straw Hats got away, and Ace got away too." And I don't know if it's at. No, I think this comes later on. So yeah, I'll kind of leave it at that. But the dialogue between Luffy and the crew is pretty much the same. They find out that Ace is Luffy's older brother, and they find out that Ace left 3 years before Luffy to go find the One Piece too. Um, and uh, and yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Wait, you
think
said
the
1 year?
3 years, three
Oh,
years.
okay. All right. Yeah, so as they're running away, there's a fork in the road. Nami says, head left. Luffy heads right as he's too busy looking backwards and running. Chaser says, wear straw hat as his henchman says he ran off. Chaser says he'll smoke them both out and have a family barbecue. Chopper then asks where they're heading out again, as Vivi says they just stopped for supplies, and their next stop before Alabasta is Arumalu. Before they depart, they realize Luffy is missing. It then cuts to Luffy, and he wonders what happens now that he's all done. He says they were just here a minute ago. As Trace said, he'd lose his head if it wasn't screwed on. Trace says, wow, Luffy, you've grown. As Luffy says, you've been working out. They then try to arm wrestle, as Luffy says, remember that time he ate the cherries and blew the seeds out like machine guns? Trace says, that was you, Luffy. Luffy then says, what about the time he taught him to blow milk through his nose? They ultimately give up the hand wrestling contest as they decide that they're evenly matched. Luffy asks for one more time. Trace says, I'll take a rain check. Luffy asks what he's doing here. Trace says he didn't get his message back at Drum Island. Trace says he's a member of the Whitebeard Pirates now and was on the Grand Line, so he thought, why not find his little brother? He then shows off his purple cross tat with a mustache that's white and asks if his crew wants to join forces. Luffy says no way, as Trace laughs and says he hasn't changed a bit. He says he asks because Whitebeard is the best pirate and should be king of the pirates, as it cuts to a silhouette of Whitebeard, which, you know, looks a lot like the Whitebeard on his cross. Luffy says, in that case, I guess I'll have to face Whitebeard, as Trace says, I guess that makes them sibling rivals. And then it cuts to another portion. I'll leave it here. See if there's any
Um,
differences.
so I mean, a lot of it is similar. I don't know if it was like something that happened, but like, as they're arm wrestling, did the barrel ever break?
I didn't notice. I just all I
Okay.
noticed was that no one was winning. They were like evenly matched.
Okay. I feel like the barrel broke
It
or
might
something.
have.
I just can't remember.
Either way, no
But
one
yeah,
won, right?
huh?
No one won the arm
Yeah,
wrestling
yeah, yeah.
match. Yeah.
No one won. Yeah. A lot of the flashback are pretty much the same. Instead of a machine gun, Luffy says Gatling gun.
Oh.
Um, so yeah, a lot of it is
They do
very
talk about the
similar.
milk.
I think it was something else where apparently something happened and Luffy was like, "Hey, do you remember this time where something happened and you were crying like a baby?"
Oh.
Um, and then Ace was like, "No, that was still you."
Oh.
Um,
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's weird
yeah,
when he says the thing about the milk. He doesn't say anything back to that.
yeah. And yeah, like and so Luffy asks, "What are you doing here on the Grand Line and stuff?" And then Ace says, "Well, it looks like you never got the message I left for you at Drum Island, and all that." So yeah, so I think that was really it. Like a lot of it was very similar.
Dude, and I've already forgotten where was Drum Island again?
Drum Island is the Winter Island
Oh, okay. Okay. Got it.
where they got
Yeah.
Chopper. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Um so it then cuts to Mr. 11 tied up on Chaser's ship. Three men show up who claim to be part of the Billions, and they say they're going to take him down as they are next in line to replace lowly hired numbers in the Baroque works. Mr. 11 says untie him immediately or he'll report them all. One of the men points a green gun at him. Kind of looks like like a one of those like army men from Toy Story's guns.
Mm-hmm.
And says, "What's one takeaway 11? Hurry up!" As a larger hurry up, and then a larger man with curly black hair and a mustache says, "Your number is up." We then hear a gunshot as Mr. 11 says, "No, you traitors." Mr. 11 says, "No, you traitors," and then we hear a gunshot.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Another,
Um,
yeah. Go ahead.
I'll just say it real quick here. So basically, yeah, like so like the billions Yeah, you see number 11 on the marine ship, and you see like these pirates come up, and Mr. 11, he's like, "Oh, you guys are the millions. Come quick, quickly come save me." And they're like, "No, we're actually the billions. You confused us with that, but no, we're actually the billions. And we're like next in line to be one of the numbers, and you know, it's not fitting of you to be a number anymore because a number shouldn't be caught by Marines." And then they're like, and then they point a gun, and he's like, and then Mr. 11, he's like, "No, wait, don't!" And then they shoot him,
Yep.
and yeah,
Do you see him shoot it, or it cuts off away?
it cuts out.
Yeah. Oh, so then no difference here, just violence. Was the gun green?
No, it was a regular brown
Oh, okay.
single shot pistol.
I guess they just, them changing it to green could get away with it.
Yeah, the one thing that's always funny to me in these in like these pirate shows is how like these are all like single shot like rifles, but they
uh-huh.
always have like numerous ammo inside the rifle. There's no loading after each. Like, why couldn't they just get like a regular modern day like a gun that has like multiple barrels, like but yeah, whatever.
Yeah. So another pirate then shows up and informs them that Trace is in town. The curly haired guy says one way to get them a number is to get a pirate. Trace says, "Let's go grab your crew before the Navy finds them," and asks what port Luffy's parked in. Luffy says the one by the water. As Trace says, he could at least remember where they parked if he's the captain. He then asks about his crew. Luffy starts talking about all of his crew members. Trey says, no doubt he's the biggest troublemaker. Doesn't he think he could use few more members just in case? Luffy says, well, they could use a banjo player. Um, the curly haired Billions then catches up to him and says he's got them now. Oh, yeah, by the way, about the Billions, there was never no millions, billions joke. They just didn't talk about that in this. Like,
Oh,
Mr. 11 does not mistake them for the millions. Do the millions even exist, or is he just that dumb? Because I
no,
thought
no,
they
no.
were
It's
always
not.
the
It wasn't
billions.
like a joke. It wasn't like a joke. He just thought they were millions, but they're like, no, we're not the millions. We're the billions.
Well, that sounds like a joke to me.
Oh, no, no, no. He just
Because
thinks
there
they're
is
millions.
millions? Are there pirates called the millions?
In the Baroque work system, yeah, there are ranked below the billions.
Oh, okay. I thought the rest of the people were just referred to as the billions.
No, no.
Okay.
Yeah. So wait, did Luffy talk about each of his crewmate?
Yes. Yeah, he did. I
Oh,
didn't want to go into detail. Like, the only interesting thing is he said, he mentioned, like, Sanji's into Nami. I mean, that's the only, like, funny part that was brought up.
oh. For me, the funny part was he was like, "Oh yeah, we also have a liar on the crew."
Oh yeah, he
uh,
mentioned that too, with referring to Usopp.
Usopp, yeah.
Yeah, and then he said he has a weird duck that's like a horse and a princess.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. Does Luffy say that he could use a banjo player?
He said he needs to get a musician next.
Oh, he didn't say banjo player. Dang it! All right, I was hoping this was foreshadowing to a banjo player. I mean, it may
Unfortunately,
be.
no banjo player.
Yeah. All right. Well, so now we cut back to the rest of the crew as they sail off, saying they need to hide their ship before the Navy arrives. Vivi says they can hide out ahead in the inland. Um, Usopp says, what sort of head leader do they have? As Zolo says, let's hope his brother keeps him out of trouble. Cuts back to the curly haired billion. And he says, Trace E. Fist, what are you doing here? As another member of the Billions says, isn't that other guy Monkey D. Luffy? So in the Four Kids, they call him Trace E. Fist.
Oh, they call. Oh, wow, that's weird. No, he's called Fire Fist Ace. I don't know why they couldn't just keep him as Fire Fist Ace. You know.
I don't know. But he's Trace E. Fist.
I mean, Fire Fist Trace. I mean, Fire Fist Trace could work.
Fire Fist Traced would work, but yeah, they didn't do that.
That's weird. I don't know why they needed to call him Trace E Fist. I
I
guess they're
guess the
trying to
E is
do it
similar
like.
to the D, right?
I mean, what I'm about to say is spoilers, but Ace is also a D.
Well, he isn't a D in the
He's a
Four
D.
Kids. He's an E in the Four
Yeah,
Kids.
it's a good thing Four Kids ended that series after this arc if they're gonna destroy the story like this. Oh my goodness, man. It's like the D is like such an important like
It
initial in the
didn't
story.
matter back then, though, man.
Apparently, it didn't matter for the Four Kids, but it very much mattered for everything else regarding One Piece.
Did they call
It's
him
like
Trace? But they never said D in this episode, did they?
no, like so no. They call him Fire Fist Ace. You don't
See?
know
They
that
didn't
you
say
don't
the
know
middle
his full
initial.
name until later on. Yeah, like it's only much later on that you actually
Was the
learn Ace's full name.
did you know Ace's full name before the Four Kids anime was done?
Oh, but like the in terms of episode
Yeah.
chronology, no. I think it's revealed much later on.
Yeah, so not even Oda knew his middle name.
No, he knew. He knew.
I don't believe it.
I mean, dude, he knew because there is a character. There is
Okay,
a
he knew,
character.
but no one else knew.
Yeah, no one who's reading the manga knew.
No, I'm saying maybe no one else knew either at the studio.
Oh yeah, that's possible too.
Yeah.
Actually, there was this big reveal about a certain character that Oda actually asked his editor, "Hey, what do you think about if this character had this background?" And they were like surprised. And then he was like, "That's when he knew that this reveal was going to be a huge surprise." So when he added this on, it was like a huge surprise. So yeah.
Gotcha. So cutting back to the anime here, one of them mentions there's a 30 million berry bounty on them. On Luffy, they decide to walk off and head towards the beach as members of the Billions try to stop him, but they keep dodging all attacks. Someone shoots through him as Luffy uses his rubber band to sling the attack back. He then performs a gum gum double barrel and slings the curly haired Billion all the way up into the air, causing him to appear as a star in the sky. Much like how the Team Rocket is
Team
always
Rocket,
taken out.
yeah.
Yeah. They start walking off as his henchman says to stand their ground. As they reach the shore, they notice the ship sailing off. Luffy says, "Over here, guys, it's me." Trace tells Luffy to watch his back, and instead we see Luffy use his gum gum hands to fling himself onto Sanji and then onto the ship. He then notices he left his brother before saying he's a tough guy. And then he says he remembers he couldn't beat him before he ate the cursed fruit. Usopp asks if they do anything but pound each other, as Luffy says, except for their marathon eating contest. Zolo says, "Did you call it a tie when you ran out of food?" Then all of a sudden, Trace appears on the ship after appearing to leap out of water and says, "Thanks a lot for looking after his bro. He's a born troublemaker." I'll cut it here to see if there's anything different.
Yeah, so yes, basically a lot of it's similar. So the Billions, they reach there and they they say like, "Oh wait, is that Monkey D. Luffy? Oh yeah, he has like a $30 million bounty. Oh, guess what, fellas? We're gonna be promoted pretty soon with these two." It's it's one of those things that I look back and and it's like the absurdity of that statement, because it's like when you find out what Ace's bounty is, which you never do in the Four Kids, because it's you I mean, obviously I find out later on because obviously story, but yeah, it's like when you learn about Ace's bounty, you're like, it's like, man, they made Luffy's bounty like a big deal when his brother, who has like a much bigger bounty than him, but they're just like talking about, oh hey, here's that Luffy kid that got a 30 million bounty.
Once
So
again,
yeah,
only Oda knew.
Possibly. So yeah, they get into a fracas with them, and the sequence that you mentioned is pretty much similar. So then eventually, yeah, Luffy spots his ship, and he stretches his arm, and then Ace is like, "Hey, Luffy, I'll handle these guys. You go to the," and then like by the time he finishes, and Luffy's already gone. He's
Yeah,
like,
he
"Hey,
that does not happen here. He says you back me up, and he then just leaves them in the four kids.
oh no. So he's like, "Hey Luffy, I'll finish off these guys. You go join your crew." But by the time he finishes, Luffy's like gone, and he's like, "Oh, you already left." Okay. So then he goes on, and then yeah, so he crashes into the crew, and then they're like, "Oh, where's your brother?" And he's like, "Oh, your brother's still there. Shouldn't you be backing him?" And he's like, "No, my brother's pretty strong." He talked about how like when they were both younger, he even though they fought a lot, he was never able to beat Ace once.
Hmm.
Um, and then basically then Luffy says, and this was before he even got the devil fruit, the flame frame fruit. Um, and then Luffy says that, but now Luffy says, but now I'm much stronger, and now I should be able to beat him. And then Zoro's like, yeah, like I'd like to see you try, or something about like put money in, yeah. So he basically talking about how like Luffy was full of shit for saying like he could beat Ace now or something. And then Ace jumps on the ship and he's like, what was that you talking about, you being able to beat me kind of thing. And yeah, so that's where we're at.
Yeah, that doesn't happen. That part doesn't happen. Weirdly enough. All of a sudden, Vivi notices a fleet is coming up, and we see their flags say Baroque Works. Vivi says they are in for it as they see two other henchmen, the two other henchmen from earlier, saying "Give it up or they'll crush them like roaches." Trace hops onto this tiny, puny-looking boat thing. As he jumps off of it, it turns into flames. He jumps off, turns into flames, then lands back on it and performs a move called Heat Fist, and it takes out all of the remaining ships in one move. Luffy laughs as Usopp is in awe. We now cut to Chaser and the Navy as Tashigi says they couldn't find the Straw Hat anywhere. Chaser mentions that Vivi was a part of their crew and he wants her take on it. Tashigi says maybe she's been kidnapped, as Chaser says no, she was acting like one of them and something fishy's going on. Um, Another one of the Navy men comes marching in and tells them he has news about Mr. 11 and that someone has crunched his number. Chaser then says he knows exactly what's going on, that they're going up against Crocodile. Chaser says he can't stand him either, and um, and to remember that a leopard can't change his spots, or in this case, a crocodile can't change his teeth. Um, yeah, anything different at this part?
Yeah, a couple. So basically, so yeah, so Ace is on the ship and he's like very nice to the crew and stuff. Talking about how he's like grateful for the crew to be able to, take care of his
Mm-hmm.
always annoying brother and stuff. And then the whole crew have like these funny faces where they're like, "Oh man, Luffy's like such an arrogant little brat," whereas his brother is like this really nice guy, and they were just like, "Oh, I wish we had like I think Chopper or Usopp, they were talking about how they wish they had like an older brother like him, and then Sanji's like, I just wish I had a captain like him or something like that, and like Luffy's like, so um, in the sub, Luffy actually says something like, "Hey, so didn't I tell you they were a funny crew?" And in the dub, he is like, "Hey, I told you each one of them is pretty unique on their own." Um, so yeah, that was like a little difference with that. Um, but yeah, so then yeah, the ships appear, and then Vivi says they're the Billions ship, and it looks like we're gonna have to engage them. And then Ace is like, "I can take care of it all. You guys sit back and take care of it all." And then
Wait, does the
I think
ships not say Baroque Works on it?
it does say
Oh,
Baroque
okay.
Works on it. And then they're like, "You're gonna take them all on your own," and then like as he's departing, they're like, "Is he gonna take?" And then Zoro mentions, "Hey, you're about to find out um, that not everyone who's named the second commander of the Whitebeard pirates, like, yeah, you're gonna find out the real might of the second commander of the Whitebeard pirates. It's something along the lines of, there's a reason why he's the second commander of the Whitebeard pirates." And Ace gets on his little like skateboardy, waveboardy thing,
Yeah, kind of like
and
surfboard, I guess.
yeah, and then he jumps, does a few flips, and then he just does a call called Fire Fist. Um, in Japanese, like it's called Haken, and it's like it sounds so badass, but yeah, in American translation, it's like Fire Fist. You see this huge fireballs just going and destroying all of the ships in just one go, and then yeah, so he destroys all of them in just one shot, and then he comes back on, and then a flip back to that, a flip back to the Marines. Um, we find out that yeah, one of the Marines comes back and says to Smoker that Mister 11 or whatever his pirate is, he's like, that guy has been found shot dead in the Marine ship. Um, and then Smoker talks about how one of the people who ran with the Straw Hats was Vivi, the princess for the Princess Nefertari Vivi of like the Nefertari family, and then like Tashigi speculates that they kidnapped her trying to get money from the Nefertari family, and then Smoker was like, it looks like she wasn't acting like she's kidnapped. It looks like she's part of the crew than like a kidnapped person. And yeah, and then basically it's all the same. He's like, he understands what's happening. It's like they're gonna go against Crocodile, and Tashigi's like, but he's one of the seven warlords. They work with the government, and he's like, and Smoker's like, pirates will always be pirates. He doesn't. He says he despises the warlords, all of them, and he's like, pirates will always be pirates. And yeah, and so he's like, yeah, we're gonna be dealing with Crocodile, and yeah, I guess I'll let you continue.
So he does also say that he doesn't like crocodile.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
He says he doesn't like Crocodile, even though he is a warlord.
yeah. So Usopp, Luffy, and Chopper are seen cheering, saying toast to Trace joining our crew. Trace says, "Who says he's joining up with them?" As they guzzle down what's in their drink that they're holding. They say, they said, as they're guzzling it down, they said, "Well, if it's not to Trace, then it's to the root beer," and they begin to laugh. Nami says they're always looking for an excuse to drink. Trace then informs them that he can't join his crew because he's searching for a pirate named Blackbeard. Nami says that's the same pirate that attacked Drum Island. Trace says he used to be a member of the Whitebeards until he smashed one of his guys and left, and now he has to find him and make him pay. He then hears that he was seen chilling in a town called Yuba. Vivi says, "Well, they're heading near there anyways, so he should join them until then." Trace agrees as they all cheer and raise a toast together.
Yeah, so a lot of it is similar. Basically, they're just like, they're just like, oh, you're joining us. He's like, no, I'm not. I'm looking for a certain pirate named Blackbeard. And he explains that the reason he's looking for Blackbeard because he said that Blackbeard did the unthinkable. He killed a fellow crewmate, and Blackbeard is part of his second division. And he says, being the commander of the second division, I have to go take care of him myself. Um, and then he talks about how he heard reports that rumors that he's over in Yuba. So then, actually, the thing is, when he mentions Blackbeard, I thought it was VB who said Blackbeard was the one who took down or attacked Drum Island. I don't know if it was Nami. I forget who it was, but yeah. So basically, yeah. So VB says something like, "Oh yeah, Yuba is on the is where we're kind of headed through that place. So yeah, it would be cool if you join us." And then he's like, "All right, cool." So they're gonna be all on the same ship, and they cheer a toast to that. And that's where the episode ends for me.
Yep, same here.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so a little bit different, and then the naming conventions, a little bit different colored guns. No mention of straight up death, but you know, a lot of hints to it. I thought it was pretty hilarious how they say they crunched his number.
Wait, does Trace have an accent?
It's nothing weird that I've picked up on.
Okay, I mean, because since he wears like kind of like a cowboy hat, I was thinking, are they gonna give him like a real southern twangy accent?
No.
Okay. Actually, the thing is, Funimation, I guess because they're getting more funding, they're trying to get more accents that's
Yeah,
correlated to that. Like I think I mentioned earlier that like Funimation, like during the Dressrosa arc, which is Dressrosa is very much based a lot of it around like Catalonia and Spain and stuff. So they got like very Spanish speaking. When the voice actors they would speak with like a Spanish accent and they would say words with like a Spanish thing like any words like for instance like how we say Garcia they would say Garcia something like that, stuff like that that like the voice actors in Funimation are starting to do now. So I think they're trying to get a little more accurate with certain voices with based on the regional inspiration. Like if a region is inspired by say Russia, maybe they'll give him like a Russian accent, something like that.
interesting.
Yeah, but obviously it's not something they did with Funimation early on because they didn't get the funding to do such a thing like that at the time. But yeah.
They had great funding with 4 kids though. That's why they had some great accents.
Yeah.
Well,
But yeah.
yeah. Yeah, thanks for listening, everyone. We'll be back in about 2 weeks here, so stay tuned.
Yep. Yep.
All right, later, everyone.
Bye.